We have already shared some stories, but today is a day for stories, a day for telling tales. Not in the sense that our grandmother might have said to us, now you stop telling tales. We're not talking about idle gossip here, or the divulging of others' secrets. Today is a day for sharing stories, and we do this well in Appalachia. Come out to the front porch, pull up a rocking chair. The mountains, hollers, and coves are alive with stories. And especially this time of year, those stories can be haunting. Many of those stories come out of the hills and hollers and make a home right here in the middle of downtown Chattanooga. Stories that grace the rooms of the Reed House just a few blocks down the road, or the halls and windows of the Hunter Museum. Stories that roam right here at St. Paul's. Tales that feel more present than they are past. Stories of frights and ghosts, or haints, as we might call them in these parts. But don't worry, we'll leave that storytelling to the Chattanooga Ghost Tours. And, if I may, a short plug for visiting the Princess Theater in South Pittsburgh this coming Thursday evening, so October 23rd, where Isaac Blevins, who serves as the priest in charge at St. John the Baptist Battle Creek, which is just right there in South Pittsburgh, Isaac will be performing and sharing some of these Appalachian tales in a show titled The Dark Holler. It promises to be haunting. And that's how we might describe these stories, these tales that we hear today from our scriptures. Haunting. Not scary or frightening or what might that be under my bed, but powerful, evocative, soul-stirring. Stories that come alive and share truth. Truth about ourselves and truth about God. Tales that haunt us and remind us who we are and whose we are. We can forget that these holy stories were first shared, not written on the page, but by the storytellers amongst us, by the Isaac Blevinses at the Princess Theater, by the voices and the hollers and the coves that everyone begged to tell the story after dinner because they did it best. They created scenery and images. They told tales around campfires and from generation to generation, holy tales of truth, stories of tricksters and mysterious midnight visitors. Today we hear such a tale. Jacob is the ultimate trickster. We meet him today on the banks of the Jabbok, but we need to remember the rest of Jacob's story. The tale of how Jacob was born grabbing his twin brother Esau's heel. Jacob's story is one of grasping and striving from the beginning. Jacob's story continues as he tricks his father Isaac into granting him the place and the blessing reserved for the firstborn. Jacob grabs at Esau's place and role, and he gets them. A trickster and a heel. And then because of this, Jacob leaves home and is estranged from his brother and exiled. And he comes to the home of his uncle. And in this place, he continues to grasp and to grab and to hook and to weave. Jacob marries Leah. And finally, his love, Rachel. And he becomes the father of many. The tale that we hear today takes place as Jacob is traveling back home. It's been 20 plus years in exile, and Jacob is now on the way to meet his brother. And he does not know how that meeting is going to go. He knows that Esau is traveling towards him, and he knows that Esau is traveling with 400 men. What does that mean? And so Jacob ponders his next move. How is he going to scheme this one? And so just before we find him alone and exposed to the night, Jacob divides his household into two, down to the flocks and the herds of animals, one this way, one the other. He divides them in two, and then he sends them in different directions across the river. He will not allow Esau to grab him by the heel. And so in Jacob's mind, if Esau attacks one group, at least Jacob will still possess the other. He's going to outsmart him. A trickster with a plan. Until Jacob is left alone in the isolation of his own company. Or is he? Jacob wrestles with a mysterious opponent, an adversary worthy of this dark night of the soul, a heel that Jacob grabs onto and will not let go. Jacob seeks blessing in the struggle, and his opponent honors his persistence, granting Jacob blessing and a new name, even if also leaving him with a limp. The trickster, whose very name, Jacob, means he who acts crookedly. He who acts crookedly. Names are important. They contain multitudes. Jacob, he who acts crookedly, now out of joint, and in a new posture as he moves to meet his brother. And so with whom did Jacob wrestle? Did this rival represent Esau? Was this challenger a symbol for everything with which Jacob has had to wrestle? His search for place and name and identity? Did this foe stand for Jacob's own interior demons? This is a tale with many possibilities. The truth is that whatever or whomever the opponent, Jacob experiences the struggle as holy. God keeps watch with Jacob. God does not slumber nor sleep, but preserves Jacob through the struggle until there is blessing. And Jacob trusts God's presence. And in the struggle with the outward and the inward through the night, Jacob beholds God's face. Close, present, and intimate. A constant companion. And Jacob knows morning will come, and with it the dawn of something new. Jacob proceeds to meet his brother both scarred and blessed. And the next part of the tale is important too. Esau embraces Jacob when they meet. There is no posturing or violence. Jacob is out of joint, and Esau is delighted to behold him. And the tale continues from there. A beloved son named Joseph, jealous brothers, and years in Egypt, along with other tragedies. There will be more dark nights of the soul. The truth of this tale is that God remains with us. When we are weary, When we find ourselves alone and preparing to cross over to the next thing, God is there, holding tight to us, persistent in God's pursuit of us, persistent perhaps as the widow in the tale from Luke's gospel. Another tale with so many possibilities. One of those being that God is the widow and we are the judge. That God is persistently visiting us, knocking down our barriers and our boundaries, calling us into new places of justice and reconciliation. That is one way to think about that tale. And I think it also is worth naming that we need to be careful about casting God in the opposite direction. In the role of the judge, we're in fact told in the reading that this is not God, that even if somebody who does not fear God and does not respect humans can respond to the persistence of the widow, then even more so, God is and will respond. I think it is also important to name, though, that this dynamic, the dynamic of showing up, of being persistent in faith and prayer, it can sometimes feel like this story. When we are expecting an answer in a certain image and in a certain time, it can feel like the dynamic of this story. That we keep visiting. We keep showing up, we keep looking for the response, and we keep being disappointed. And again, as we explored with faith a few weeks ago when the disciples declared to Jesus, "Increase our faith," it is God's timing that is perhaps the most confounding, confusing even. And still, God persists with us. Through every dark night of the soul, individual and collective, God persists with us. God holds tight to us and invites us to hold tight to God, to persevere and persist, to pray without ceasing, and to know that God will stay awake with us. God will be with us to greet the morning. And that is a haunting tale.